Week 23. So it started Sunday at Speaking Club, and at the Speaking Club, we were playing the game Tarzan the Monkey Man. I think I told you guys already that I learned it from summer camp. But I had a prize for winning the game, which was this little stress ball. So they sent me this little ball, and I gave one of them to this girl as a prize for winning. And when I did, she said, "Oh my goodness, thank you." And she gave me a hug, which was surprising but very sweet. And I definitely have a soft spot for her now. But yeah, that happened. And then later that day, this was Sunday, I was playing my Xbox, just kind of relaxing after a long day. And I played my Xbox for about 2 hours. And I opened up my phone and I see people saying, "Oh my goodness." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, what happened?" In this Twitter group chat that I'm in. And one friend was like, "Kobe died." I was like, "Kobe died? What? Like, what did I miss? How did I not get a notification?" And then everyone was like, "Kobe died." And then I opened up Twitter, and then TMZ reports Kobe died. And I was like, oh, Kobe died. Which obviously had been said before, but like it didn't really click because I was just like, it was just so random. And then they're like, "Oh, well, it's TMZ." And I was like, okay, I guess. So then Watch tweets it, and it's like, "Oh snap, Kobe actually died." And then there's like this ongoing shock for the next 2 to 3 hours where people are just trying to get details, figure out what's happening. And well, everyone kind of knows how things went, where people were giving out details and retracting, and I think ABC or CNN messed up their report with how many people died initially and who was on the plane. And Rick Fox got mentioned and stuff. But regardless, I think the whole world was kind of in shock that Kobe died, and I think these news outlets were really just trying to get this story settled and out as quickly as they could, because in all honesty, with a story this shocking, you really want to know what happened. So I can't really blame them for their urgency in working. Obviously you should be respectful and you should be truthful in what you report, which I don't think anyone was purposefully untruthful. But it was a very, very tense time, and there were a lot of factors and a lot of sources to go through. So all of this happened, and then the world commenced the mourning period for Kobe with an innumerable amount of tributes and things like that. And for me, Kobe never really hit as close to home, honestly. I knew he was someone that other people liked, and he has the fadeaway and the footwork and the skills and all this stuff. But I didn't really know what the mythology or the legend of Kobe was. And I mean, I'm more of a football guy anyway, so it just didn't really hit me. But learning about what Kobe meant to other people was a very interesting part of that week. It was kind of surprising to see what poured out for Kobe, even though in the basketball world, I mean, when you talk about great players, there's the LeBron and Jordan argument, and then there's like, oh, was Shaq better than Kobe and all this stuff. But in the end, after all of this, I mean, I think like 2 out of every 3 people on Twitter that was a basketball fan was like, "Yeah, I'm in this because of Kobe." And I'm like, seriously? But hey, I mean, it just goes to show that you never really know the truth about things until it comes out. But after all of that being settled, I mean, it was late over here, so I'd gone to sleep and kind of woke up the next day to see what like the back end and the settlement of the story was. And then it turned out it was actually 9 people that died, and all the information came out during the week. But yeah, that was a crazy, crazy situation, honestly. Like, not really looking forward to dealing with anything like that again, because it was crazy. But I think there is kind of some value in this. Some people are like, why would God allow this? And in short, I kind of feel like this was maybe an allowed reality check, because people are like, "Oh, why did Kobe have to go now?" And I saw someone tweet, why did God have to allow this to happen? Or how can you like have faith that God is really there and stuff? And then I looked at, what this caused people to respond with personally, and I really feel like this made people serious about life again, because it's easy to get into a mindless flow of life, and I think Kobe's death really put things back into perspective for people, which it's unfortunate he died, but I think good things may come out of this in the end. So anyway, Kobe died, and that was crazy, but life still went on. So next day I was in class, and I was actually covering for a teacher who was sick. So I was walking these classes through the lessons, and for my last class of the day, I actually had them do this activity where they play kind of a family meeting role or situation, and we had a mom and dad and teenagers and parents, and I really just did it as a last ditch effort because I finished the lesson extremely early and didn't know what to do. And they played out this family meeting for literally 50 minutes, just going off the cuff. We were crying, laughing after maybe 15 minutes, and then it just continued going. This family meeting involved a teenager coming out to his parents, the kindergarteners revealing that they sell weed at school, and one person getting voted out of the family, among other things. So, yeah, that was how that happened. And after that, I was going back home, and I got on the bus, and I heard a guy say Black Star, but I didn't really connect the dots. I didn't really expect it to be about me, but I was like, man, it might be, but whatever. So I didn't make eye contact with the guy at first because I was looking for the money to pay the conductor or the money collector on the bus. But I sat down, and then about 5 minutes later, the guy came and sat in front of me and started talking to me. And he's like, "Oh, can I talk to you?" And he talked to me and asked questions, and he was telling me about how life is rough where he is and stuff, and how it's a bad life. And all I could really leave this guy with was like, you can live a good life. But it was a very unexpected thing, but I tried to leave him with a positive life, that you don't have to get drunk and fight and stuff, which is what he was telling me about. But that happened. Later that week, the next day, I believe, I was back at Jatomriska, and I was helping in one class, and one of the other teachers came in to ask for the room key and the key to another room, and I didn't know where it was. The teacher I was with said, "Oh, check this box right here." So I went, got the key, which was there, and gave it to this teacher. Now, she's like fairly young, so anyway, she took the key and she said, "Oh, thank you," and then she like blew me a kiss and smiled, and then like closed the door and left. And like, I mean, it's just kind of like her personality. Like, she's just, I guess, very soft in that regard. But she did that, and I turned back around, and one of the girls, actually the same girl that gave me the hug for the stress ball, she sees this and she looks at me and she's like, "What?" And I didn't address it because I didn't want to make it any more of a deal than it probably already was her. But I'm like 75% sure she thinks that either she likes me or that we're dating or so. Anyway, it was that happened. So after that, later on in the week, on Thursday, actually, I was teaching, and these kids were off the walls from the beginning. I don't know what happened. It was the craziest day I've seen with kids. The teacher said she didn't know what was happening. These kids are running around the class, around the hall that we're in. They're jumping, they're sliding on the floor. They literally scared this girl out of the class. So it's four boys. One new girl came and joined the class. The girl literally was scared out of the classroom. Like, she went outside and sat with her dad and listened from distance for the class. because of how scared she was of these boys, because these kids were just off the wall. I don't know if it was because there was now a girl there and they literally did not know how to act, but that happened, and it felt really bad that I didn't know what to do, because her dad's like, it's okay, but it's one girl and these boys just lost it. So on Friday we had our All-Star weekend. I also got my hair cut, which you can't really see, maybe, no? Yeah, no waves. So we had the All-Star weekend actually here for basketball in Ukraine, and my friend Sasha and we went down there and we went to check it out and see what was happening. Saw, the players who were just kind of hanging around taking photos and stuff with the fans. It was pretty chill. And then on Saturday, after church and everything, I went out to the actual All-Star game with Sasha. And after the game, they actually let the fans come on the court. They did some massive, I think, fan and player picture. And then out of nowhere, I didn't know it would be allowed, but out of nowhere, basketballs just start flying at the rims and people are like ducking for cover. And then I eventually grabbed one and put up a couple of shots. I think I made a three-pointer. I have tried to go for a dunk, but I was in jeans, I didn't stretch, and I think I almost pulled something, but it was pretty cool. And then after that, came back home, relaxed that night, and it was the end of a pretty interesting week. But after this week, did realize a few things, that I am connecting more with the students, and also I realized that reading body language is important anywhere, but it's really key here. Regular people do this too. Like when you walk into a store, everyone kind of scans you just to see what you're doing. It's really interesting to see, because it's not really targeted at me per se, it's just a thing that they do here. And on top of that, I've finally been working out a bit more. You won't be able to see it, but it's there. And I've been working on bass playing also. Been going pretty well. I don't have speakers over here, and my bass thing has been acting up, but I've definitely been practicing while I've been here. And then finally, I'm challenging myself to significantly improve my Russian and Ukrainian this month. I've been catching up on most things, like working out and bass playing and people, but I have not really been on this language thing, which I think I should, because it really just makes connecting with people here easier, because there are people that know English and even young people, but it's much easier to break ice with them when you can really hit them in their own language. That's just the reality of it, honestly. As much as people do like to use whatever English they know, they don't always have the confidence, so you kind of have to reciprocate and kind of go to their side a bit. So trying to do that, I believe I will. I just have to really put in that work. But anyway, this is week 23 along with some other side stuff. I'll definitely try to make this shorter than the 16 minutes it is on video right now. But yeah, love you guys. Peace.
The best rest happens when I let them have it, cause I'm doing too much, I'm doing too much, I'm doing too much, doing too much, doing too much.